Lucy, I know we've got some video from the world's largest cocktail party. Georgia has fixed all the things that ailed Georgia when they were scoring 3 points at the half against South Carolina, whatever it is that was working. But before we go to that video later in the show, can you tell me about your experience up there? Was it better than most? Because that's supposed to be a bigger party than the average college football party.
Yeah, it was far and away the best tailgate I have ever been to in my life. I have a feeling I don't think we're going to top it again. Everyone was so drunk, Florida fans especially more drunk, but it was something unique because when we went to Texas, Oklahoma, there wasn't a ton of tailgating, but even at the state fair, there was no intermingling between Texas and Oklahoma fans. They did not talk to each other. Like, it was very weird. Florida, Georgia, everyone was just having a good time. Everyone was drinking. Florida knew what was going to happen. Georgia knew what was going to happen, so they were going to enjoy the tailgate, and then Florida fans would leave at halftime.
You don't think Florida thought that perhaps by some miracle they'd do the same thing at home that they did to Tennessee? It
was in Jacksonville.
It's always at a neutral site, Dan.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Georgia has pretty much owned the series as of late. I think it's 5 straight years of winning this. Florida fans were not. The really drunk ones were very optimistic. The slightly drunk ones were like, yeah, we know what's going to happen.
They were up 7-0, though.
Yeah, that was sick.
Right? Oh, it was electric for them.
I know.
That
Twitter
was
was
so
fun.
cool.
We spent a lot of time before the college football season talking about how it seemed like some things had evened up. And here is Georgia not losing, and there don't look to be a whole lot of other super teams. I mean, it's
Alabama.
Michigan.
Michigan looks good. They've had a weaker. They're going to enter a stronger part of the schedule, and they might have been cheating this entire time, and we don't know what kind of advantages they got. But Michigan does look good.
It's really odd that no one ever says Florida State. Florida State's good.
Yeah, number 4.
Well, it's because the games against Boston College and Clemson were so close.
You're going to have those over the course of the season that you're going to need to survive. Washington's just survived it in back-to-back weeks, and they still feel pretty good about their undefeated season. For Florida State, it just so happened to happen really early in the season, so it tainted everybody's perspective of them. I don't know if they look like a team that's going to run the table and finish with an undefeated season, but they got a crap load of talent. They're good.
It happens this time every single college football season where it just starts to naturally separate itself, where teams that have played really, really well start to struggle, like Washington, and teams that may have not looked as good in the beginning of the season, like Georgia, start to excel. It's just like sort of the natural order of things, and it's like the perfect time where the Pac-12 starts to cannibalize itself. We understand that Michigan's the best team in the Big Ten. Like, I can't imagine the college football playoff rankings that we see tonight are going to be too crazy different than what we see in a few weeks.
What I'm interested in with the college football playoff rankings and with the Heisman Trophy voting is you have the human element in all of this, and what kind of bias is Michigan going to be met with? Because everything that is swirling around that program, and at this point there's like at least 3 things, and I think it's going to hurt McCarthy's Heisman campaign. I really do, and I think that you're going to see voters lashing out at them because this isn't computers making the decision.
But, Mike, if they run the table, beat Ohio State, win the Big Ten championship game, Mike.
They will, but
you can't keep them out.
But look, the Big Ten, I think, has autonomy here when it comes to what the NCAA can do in terms of a punishment. But I do think that the NCAA is going to take this opportunity to make an example out of Michigan, because this is one of those things that is fairly easy to get people on its side. If they wanted to get involved with NIL and recruiting, you'd face a mass rebellion, not just from the fan base, which is new, because the fans would always want the NCAA to come down on these programs that were paying players. But now in this new age, you're going to have just schools threaten the NCAA. You come after us, we're going to take away your easy money. But this is something easy for new leadership in the NCAA to drop a hammer down and get everybody's support behind.
I know that Michigan has looked good early in this season, but none of you would be surprised if Ohio State beat Michigan.
I would.
I'm anticipating.
I would too.
I'm anticipating
I would.
both. It's hard to go undefeated in the Big Ten, and I think the resumes certainly that Ohio State has put up. Ohio State can survive a loss in the regular season and still be in a mix for CFP. We all know the conference that's going to, if there's a one-loss team from a Power 5 conference, we all know that conference that's going to be shut out is going to be the ACC.
I want to talk about ACC scheduling through 2030 in a second, but outside of maybe Marvin Harrison, have you guys seen a better receiver than FSU's Keon Coleman?
Washington has 2 good ones.
Yeah.
But Keon Coleman, just passes the eye test. Did he have 2 one-handed grabs
Yes,
last
it's
week?
not just that. It's just when he's
That's
got
a Mel Tucker recruit, by the way.
When he's got a defensive back pasted to him, he still catches the ball because he's a basketball body.
They have really good receivers. Wilson's also really good. I like their tight end. Travis has been around since the Obama administration. It seems like that's a team that you'd want to trust. However, can you trust an ACC team to finish a season undefeated? You look at that schedule, you could argue that maybe the harder part of their schedule is over, but they do have 2 rivalry games. One of them is actually at Florida. Miami, in terms of the trenches, they haven't been blown out really this season just yet. That's a rivalry game, so maybe that's the conference loss that they get. I don't think it's going to be at Pitt.
Virginia Tech in the ACC championship game?
That's
I don't know.
wild.
We don't know.
That's so ACC. This year, if you're an ACC fan, you see the head-to-head splits, and it's not going to matter. The ACC's record against the Big Ten and the SEC is good this year, and it's not going to matter whatsoever when it comes to deciding who gets into this college football playoff. An undefeated FSU should be in the top 4. I think we all expect that today. But if they drop one game here, the ACC's reputation of cannibalizing itself is going to come back to haunt them. No one's going to care that you have a good record against the other Power Fives.
That LSU win, really great at the time, doesn't feel as good now. LSU's defense is horrendous. The Duke win, good at the time. Riley Leonard didn't play for most of that game. Like, Florida State, I think, is past the eye test, but the schedule doesn't feel as strong as it once did.
But, Lucy, that changes. If LSU beats Alabama this weekend, suddenly that becomes a better win.
It does.
Yes,
right.
but LSU's defense is so bad that I really do not think they're going to beat Alabama. They're very, very bad.
FSU's already had the luck that you need to make a season special. With the Boston College penalty fest that happened earlier this season, with the missed kick against Clemson and the return for a touchdown by their defense, they already kind of survived these. And I don't care who you are, you could be the most dominant team. There are moments in a season where you're like, okay, we had luck on our side, even if you're a national champion. And they've already had that luck.
Lucy, at the Florida-Georgia game, who was there in mass more? Was it Georgia or Florida? Like, whose fandom did you feel more?
I would say it was 55-45 more Georgia fans, but it was pretty even most of the time. Georgia fans are insanely loud, insanely passionate. It's hard not to hear, 35,000 people all barking at you at the same time. That was an insane experience. It was both fan bases showed out really well, but I would say more Georgia fans.
We'll get to that video from Lucy in a second, but what did you find interesting about the ACC schedule through 2030?
The fact that they think they're going to be around in 2030?
No way. No way.
Miami's traveling 3,000 miles to Cal Berkeley, which, as someone that travels quite a bit with the football team, I'm excited. Going to bourbon trails and wine country with this road.
It's a nice stop for you. Yeah, it is.
With this road schedule. I think for me, the thing that I'm happiest about, I was really confused when the ACC made this rule that you'll get 3 permanent rivals and you'll play those permanent rivals every year. And Miami's permanent rivals were FSU, makes all the sense in the world. Boston College, okay, we were in the Big East with them, and there was the Flutie bomb, okay. And Louisville, which they're playing a trophy.
Ridiculous.
They're playing for a trophy, the Howard Schnellenberger trophy.
Yeah.
And it's bronze cowboy boots. And that one didn't make any sense. They were, I guess Big East ties. I think they were in the Big East in the same time for a brief period, and then they moved to the ACC together. That made no sense.
Cowboy boots.
Yeah, it should have been a Muhammad Ali, Cassius Clay type of thing. Or if you're going to bronze anything of Howard Schnellenberger, make it a pipe.
Yes.
Yep.
That makes more sense.
Right.
But
or a mustache.
one thing that I was upset about with that ruling and very confused about was, okay, North Carolina feels like that's been a budding rivalry, but they have so many Tobacco Road rivals. I get why that call was made. Why isn't Virginia Tech one of our permanent rivals? That has been a 25-year rivalry. The games are good. They always mean something. Virginia Tech was pissed about it. And what happened with this schedule drop was Virginia Tech went from not being worthy of being one of Miami's 3 permanent rivals to making the cut for 2. And now Miami will play Virginia Tech every year. So the stink that Virginia Tech made about not playing Miami worked.
Virginia Tech and Miami are the best chances to beat FSU in the regular season because it's not going to be Pitt.
Well, Virginia
Florida?
Tech doesn't play them in the regular season. You're going to have to wait till Charlotte for that
Right,
one.
yes.